What's up? Today is Wednesday. We are officially calling this version of Wednesday Whiskey Wednesday. Today I'm just working and sipping on some Redwood Empire Grizzly Beast, I believe is what it's called. It's a bourbon straight whiskey. It's honestly my favorite. It's fantastic. But that's not why we're here. I mean, unless you want me to talk about whiskey, then we can do that another time. Let me know. Today we're talking about something that I'm very excited about because it's the first time I've ever done this. I bought my first photo book. I've wanted a photo book for a very long time. There's a couple in my Amazon wish list, if you will, that I've been eyeing for a while. But I just dump out a ton of money for something without putting my hands on it or seeing it to see if I'd even enjoy like owning a book. I know a lot of other photographers, Matt Day, they talk about how this is where they get their inspiration a lot of times. So I was very curious if that would work for me, but not $100 curious or more, $400 curious. So I saw a video last week about this particular book, and when I saw it, I was like, that could be the one. So I found it, got it for like 35 bucks, and I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, we're all in for this. So this book is by Erwin Olaf. He was 64 at the time of his passing, a photographer from Hilversum. He was a Dutch photographer. I'm sure I got that city or town wrong. And Time magazine described his work in a way that I think is very fitting and way better than I could put to words. They described it as straddling the worlds of commercial art and fashion photography at once. And I think that is very, very clear in his work. One thing before we jump into the book that I think is pretty cohesive is how well lit his work is, but it doesn't feel lit. There are soft lighting patterns throughout, nothing very, very harsh. One or two high key images in black and white toward the back, but everything else feels very pastel almost, if you will. Very soft and like, the light is very soft and flattering in all of his subjects. He takes a different approach in a lot of these images, and I think it's partly why I'm so excited to share this one. I've only flipped through this once or twice before. I've only flipped through this once or twice before making this video, so I don't recall every image in it, and I think that's kind of part of why I want to do this now. I want it to be fresh and I want it to be genuine, honestly. So let's dive into it. I'm not going through all of this. I don't want this video to be 10 minutes long. I just want to go through, some of these images that I think are really, really interesting. Here's an image on the very cover. We'll see this again later on. It's just kind of high key, very fashion, circa 1970, maybe 60s. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. And it's interesting. I've noticed a lot of his images too, the model will have their chin down, which is pretty interesting. This photograph we'll see later on in the book in the full spread. We're missing some of the scene here, but I love, love, love what he's doing here. And I apologize for this lighting. It's very one-sided and hot. I didn't think about the glossy pages of this book when I started this. This is Erwin here himself. A lot of these pages are in two different languages since obviously he was Dutch. And then here we go. This is the first image. I think it's so fascinating. These two ladies, the young girl and I guess her mom. There's a torn American flag in the tree here. They're having a picnic with some bottled Coke. There's just so much going on, but it feels so delicate. Maybe that's the word that I should mention throughout. Like, it's very delicate. I love the blues. Like, this is very filmic to me. Like Portra 400 or maybe 800, honestly maybe even 400H. It's got a little more of the purple and pastels here, I think, if you look really closely. I love this one. It's telling a story, which I think a lot of his work does, which I think is what we all aim to do. Here's another one. This young lady obviously is pregnant. You can see that she's well lit from the side here. I apologize again for the lighting. We'll just go kind of quickly. I love, love, love this image. I think it is so fascinating, from the styling of his clothing and his feet being crossed to the button jacket to the chair to the The backlighting here, you know, the panels in the window, I think are very, very fascinating. This is the cover image again. Just really well done. The photographer that I saw talking about this book mentioned how he really took the time to build these scenes, and I don't know if that means like physically build sets, or if that just means like with, you know, interest and with integrity and with time, that he set up the shot that he wanted, you know, before ever taking it, which, you know, I think that probably feels more accurate. But either way, these are awesome. I love this little shot of this little kid in his baseball glove. This one is one of my favorites. This is just all concrete around her, and I love the way her dress just falls almost perfectly symmetrical here in this balloon, which is so funny. I know it's just on a string, but like even the texture of the string is just really interesting. I was also led to believe that he shot on medium format cameras only. He had one of the best tools to really produce the best results, and I think that's very evident here between, you know, the light and shadow play and the micro contrast. You can see that this is lit probably from the subject's right side here, and it's really hot on this horse's head, but beautifully done. I really love these images here in particular. The twins. His use of color is very fascinating. Typically, I'm not a big, you know, color guy, but I love the way he does it. This is probably my favorite photo in color that he does. One thing that you'll notice he does a lot is his models are always, not always, I guess that's not a good way to, they're often looking away from camera, which makes you look at and appreciate the work differently, because you're having to wonder, what are they thinking? Why aren't they looking at me? Why aren't they engaging with me, you know, in this image? Where's their head? Like it makes you want to go a little deeper, whether that's the story that we make up on our own or what, but like it makes the story feel much fuller than it is. I really love this lighting on this one, but once again, she's looking away. Is she distraught? Is she love struck? We really don't know, but his work is so well done, and it's so, I don't know, thoughtful, I think is maybe the word that comes to mind most. It just, you could see and feel the time and effort in every image in this book. And this isn't all of his work, obviously. He has so many other images, and I highly recommend you look into him if you're into fashion, or, you know, off-camera flash, or, you know, any of those things, commercial photography. It's really well done. We'll see this little fella again here in just a second. This is the cover image. It's partly why I didn't spend a lot of time in the beginning there, that first image inside the cover. It's just really beautiful. I love the candles lit up, the stairs and the concrete and the texture that's brought into this image particularly. Here's that first image that I mentioned. I love it. We don't see this gentleman in the first the image, you know, it really isn't wide enough for that. Just all the balloons and the color and the texture is just the workers and their hammers. Oh man, and this one, it's just so stunning. It's very, oh man, I cannot think. The painter that had a lot of the paintings like in doctor's offices back in the 90s of kids, you know, in overalls and such. I can't think of his name, but this feels very reminiscent of that to me. And like these, another example of the subjects not looking at the camera, but then telling such a deep story without even making contact. I think this one is very fascinating. I think it's a very powerful image. It's almost like this very entitled, rich child here, and this is his trophy. This is his thoroughbred, almost, if you would, is this African-American gentleman on these skates, I guess, at the time, and all of these medals, and like he just seems so demanding that he'd give him more, that he, you know, continue to produce. And I don't know if that's the truth. That's just what this makes me think of. But I love it. I think it's so well done. The subjects are both very photogenic. I think it's just incredible. This image, it says a lot, and I don't even know what it's saying, to be honest. From the high heels to the clown, you know, costume and makeup, to the sealed, stamped, wax sealed envelope there. This gentleman with his back to us again in thought. We don't know what's going on, but just so well done. I would really like to know what this photo entails, like what the story was behind this. I'll probably look into this. It's called Public Bath from 2012. So I think this one probably has a much deeper story itself. I'll speed things up here. These are beautiful photos of these children looking much older than they are. This is fascinating. His use of balloons is really, really cool, I think. I do want to forewarn you, some of these images toward the back, there's some blood. I don't think it's real, but I don't want anyone to be shocked. So if you're queasy or if that's offensive to you, you can stop this now, or, you know, pause and jump toward the end. It's, once again, not extremely graphic, these black and whites. I don't like them as much. I like this one a whole lot. Some of these black and whites feel flat to me. These are, you know, from 2009, but this work, also from 2009, is so, it just feels like a painting. It feels like a painting. I don't typically love, you know, a lot of white and like the super, super bright, high key, high fashion image, but there's something about this. She looks distraught, he looks bored here in the frame, and then the next frame is of him from the other side of the room, which or her, I should say. I don't know. But I think these scenes are just so meticulous. I really, really like the detail in this one, and the suspenders. It just feels otherworldly, or other, you know, from a different time and space. Once again, this lovely young lady just not looking at the camera at all. She's grasping something here, but I can't tell what it is. I've looked at it a few times, but I can't tell what it is. Maybe just a handkerchief. Even to this, you know, image of just the pot. This is one of my least favorites, and I hate to say that because, like, I love everything about it. Her hands, the neckline, I think it's so stunning, but her eyes are like not closed, not open. It's like this half blink almost, and that just doesn't work for me, sadly. But not being negative, just being honest. This is just how I feel. Like, here's some other images, like set in maybe a business or a high school scene from the 50s or something, maybe the 70s. Really well. I love these super type portraits. The last reviewer of this book that I saw didn't care for these as much, but I really get drawn into these. I love the detail in the eyes. You can see him making the photographs in their pupil, and I think that is partly very, very interesting. And these are the ones I was talking about. I think it's so cool. The same image here to here, but one with the blood splatter. We don't know what happened between these frames, right? But I think it's so well done. Just, and the lighting in this shot, honestly, happens to be one of my favorites. These I don't really care much for, so I'm just going to pass through those. This one as well, a little gory. These black and whites are pretty cool. I do really, really, really enjoy this black and white. This is much more my style. Not saying that it's better, it's just what I am drawn to and what I enjoy in black and white work. This little guy, so cute. So cute. This is one of my favorite images, this high key black and white on this black backdrop. Nothing, you know, extraordinary going on, but it is such a dynamic image. This is actually on the back cover of the book as well. And then there's just some other ways that he's distributed. I'll show you that last image one more time. But that's it. Erwin Olaf. He was a visionary. I don't know how else to say it. I think he was ahead of his time. I think he was making work that we're seeing in AI now, if I'm honest with you. I think that's what makes me think of him. And when I see his work, I'm like, I've seen something like that, you know, somewhere else. And it's all these AI generated, you know, models and stuff, which I don't care for a lot, but I do get very inspired by. So I'm not going to hate on that. I hope you like this video. It's different. It's not something I've ever tried before. I just wanted to sit down and have a conversation. Have a glass of whiskey and converse with the people that are here. If you're new here, thanks for being here. I'm Jeremy. I didn't say that in the beginning. It should be everywhere. But I strive to be committed to returning the effort that you all give me. If you make a comment, I want to take the time to comment back. It just seems respectful, and that's who I am as a person. But that's enough for today. Cheers, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again.